seen your stuff on social media, boy. I know what you do, but you do it for play.
Hart broke your stand-up box office record.
What record did he break?
He said he broke some record of your box office sales for stand-up.
I don't know.
15 years in Hollywood, no one in Hollywood has a memory of going to a sold-out Kevin Hart show, there being a line for him ever getting a standing ovation at any comedy club.
Welcome back to StarHush, where we don't just sip tea, we serve it piping hot. Eddie Murphy just let something major slip and fans are shook. He revealed the real reason Kevin Hart is low-key scared of Katt Williams. That's right. Katt's been throwing shade for years, dropping clues in his sets and interviews, and now Eddie is co-signing it. It's not just petty beef anymore, it's deeper than jokes and punchlines. Let's break down why Kevin's been keeping his distance from Katt, and why Eddie's finally speaking up.
What do you think a plant is? Maybe people don't understand the definitions of these words.
Are we ever gonna see you on stage again doing stand-up?
I'm gonna do it again, because I got to break Kevin's new record. I got to get back on the stage, because this new record that Kevin got, I got to have it back.
I got a show at your hometown in Philly. I'm gonna take my special there. On that stage, we can put whatever you want. A full-court basketball court, a boxing.
So why is Kevin Hart so nervous around one specific comedian? Let's get into it. For years, Eddie Murphy kept his distance from all the back and forth in the comedy world. He wasn't messy, didn't throw low-key shade, and definitely wasn't getting caught up in anyone's drama. But when Kevin Hart's name came up, everything changed just a little. In a recent interview, Eddie finally cracked that calm exterior. His tone stayed smooth, but his words had that slick edge. When they asked him about Kevin supposedly breaking his stand-up box office record, Eddie didn't blink, didn't flinch, and definitely didn't act impressed. It was the kind of cool response that said way more than the words alone.
Kevin Hart broke your stand-up box office record.
What record did he break?
He said he broke some record of your box office sales for stand-up.
I don't know. What did he break?
Eddie followed up that slick comment by dropping a major reminder. His legendary special Raw is still the #1 box office concert film of all time. And get this, he hasn't even touched a stage in 27 years. Then, with that classic Eddie grin, he said, "Now I gotta get back on stage because I want that record back, Kevin." It sounded playful, but anybody who knows Eddie knows when he jokes like that, he's serious underneath. That wasn't just friendly banter. There was a little heat in that message. So how does all of this connect to Kevin Hart being low-key nervous about Katt Williams? A whole lot more than you might think. Because when a legend like Eddie Murphy, someone who defines greatness in comedy, starts publicly questioning Kevin's so-called crown, it makes people take a second look. And that's exactly where Katt Williams has been trying to lead everyone for years. Katt hasn't just been throwing casual shade. Nah, he's been pulling back the entire curtain. In multiple interviews, he's called Kevin out as what he sees as an industry-made act. According to Katt, Kevin didn't grind his way to the top the same way other comics did. He's claimed Kevin got a shortcut, fast-tracked, insulated, and put in position not because of unmatched talent, but because of something else entirely, willingness to play the game, to smile for the cameras, keep it clean, avoid controversy, and never ruffle feathers when it comes to the people behind the scenes.
We heard of a comedian that came to LA, and in his first year in LA, he had his own sitcom on network television and had his own movie called Soul Plane that he was leading. No, we've never heard of that before that person or since that person. What do you think a plant is?
It wasn't just shade. Katt Williams straight up dropped a savage takedown and came with receipts. He didn't hold back, claiming that for about 5 years, nearly every movie role Kevin Hart landed had originally been offered to him first. But here's the kicker. Katt says he turned them down. Why? Because a lot of those roles were ones he felt were degrading, either portraying stereotypical characters or involving scenes that didn't sit right with him. Katt said, "I said no, and those scripts magically found their way to Kevin." That's a bold claim, and if true, it flips everything we thought about Kevin's climb to the top. Now put that next to Eddie Murphy dropping the bomb that Kevin's record doesn't even really exist, and suddenly Kevin's whole brand starts looking shaky. It's no longer about talent alone. It starts looking like the result of saying yes to the right people at the right time, while staying quiet about the machine behind the curtain. And maybe that's why Kevin keeps his distance from Katt, not because Katt is unpredictable or wild, but because Katt's been in those rooms. He's heard the conversations, he's seen the deals, he turned stuff down that Kevin might have agreed to. So when Katt talks, it's not just drama, it's insight. It's uncomfortable truth that threatens to shake Kevin's whole foundation. This ain't just about who sold more tickets, it's about who stayed true to themselves while navigating an industry that doesn't always play fair. And in a business where silence keeps people in power, Kevin definitely doesn't want Katt or Eddie digging any deeper. Eddie's comment might have sounded light, but trust, when a legend like him speaks, it sparks conversations. People start peeling back the layers, wondering how Kevin really made it to the top. What deals were made, what paths were cleared, and most importantly, what was traded in the process. Now add to that a whole other layer, a certain party in Las Vegas back in 2010. It wasn't just any bash. It was a celebration thrown for Diddy. And guess who was the host with the mic in hand calling all the shots? Kevin Hart. Not just attending, hosting. Let that sink in.
We want to thank you. Come here. Don't sit on the bed at night. No homo. No, just don't get close to the bed. Don't get close. But it's just like, yo, we want to thank you for hosting the thing, man. It's been a pleasure. You didn't have to do it, and you did it.
No, I definitely didn't have to do it. I definitely didn't have to.
Back then, that Vegas party looked like just another star-studded celebration. But now, let's just say the vibes hit way different. Recently, some footage from that 2010 bash has resurfaced online, and in today's lens, it's raising eyebrows across the board. In one particular clip, Kevin is seen packed into a dimly lit bathroom, surrounded by a crowd of women wearing swimwear. The whole scene feels off, candles flickering, loud music blasting, and the energy totally out of control. Then something wild happens. One of the women's hair gets too close to a candle and catches fire. Instead of shock or urgency, the room bursts into laughter. Kevin and others just laugh it off. No panic, no one jumping in to help, no sense of concern at all. It's treated like part of the entertainment.
Yeah. The water was deeper though.
Came up, flame was gone. At that time, I was in panic. I had asthma. It was a difficult situation.
In another clip from that same party, Kevin is seen talking directly to a camera crew. He casually tells them not to film near a certain corner of the room, where Diddy was reportedly seated. He doesn't explain why, just drops the warning and moves on, but here's where things start to get real messy. As the camera pans briefly toward that area, something about the setup instantly raised red flags online. People started asking the hard questions. Why did Kevin steer the cameras away? What was happening over there that needed to stay off the record? The focus here isn't about pointing fingers, it's about placement. Kevin wasn't just some background guest at that party, he was clearly involved. He wasn't pulled in last minute or crashing for fun. He was helping lead the night, hosting, hyping, and moving with confidence. And this matters even more now because of what's come to light in 2024. Federal investigators have made serious claims about Diddy allegedly hosting private invite-only events, where behind closed doors, there were disturbing behaviors, illegal substances, and inappropriate activities taking place. These weren't your average Hollywood ragers. Multiple lawsuits and statements from insiders describe those nights as part of a much deeper, more troubling pattern. Now, let's be clear, Kevin Hart has not been accused of anything illegal. There is no known proof tying him to those alleged crimes. But let's not ignore the facts. He was there. He was recorded laughing, entertaining, guiding the flow of the event while things around him were spiraling into chaos. That type of proximity sticks in people's minds. And when asked about Diddy recently, when the paparazzi cornered him trying to get a statement, Kevin didn't take the moment to set things straight. No clarification, no denial, just a quick deflection and moving on.
Hey Kevin, when you hosted for Diddy, did you catch any baby oil?
When I hosted for Diddy?
Yeah. Nah?
You asking the wrong person the wrong.
That sidestepping only added more fuel to the fire. When someone chooses to stay silent, especially when video evidence is out there, people don't just forget, they start wondering what's really being hidden. And maybe, just maybe, that's exactly what Eddie Murphy was hinting at when he took that little jab at Kevin Hart. He wasn't just questioning his success. He was shining a light on the shaky foundation that success might have been standing on. Once that Vegas party footage started making rounds online, folks didn't stop there. They went digging. And what they found got everybody side-eyeing Kevin's polished image. On the surface, Kevin's always marketed as the super dedicated, always grinding family man. But his history tells a different tale, one way more layered and messy than his clean-cut brand. Let's take it back to 2013. Kevin was arrested in Los Angeles for driving under the influence. Reports say he was speeding hard and nearly crashed into a tanker truck. That's not just a traffic mistake, that's a serious situation. The police claimed he showed clear signs of intoxication, and to his credit, Kevin didn't deny it. He came clean publicly, admitting he had been drinking and made a really poor decision that night.
The cop comes over, cop's like, license and registration, please. So Mike go, Buck, where's the registration for the cop? You know, he's got this African accent. Buck go. Man, you better get the fuck out of here. Stop talking to me, Mike. I don't know this shit. I don't know nothing now, man.
Then came the 2017 mess that had the internet buzzing for months. Kevin had only been married to Eniku Parrish for just over a year when a video leaked showing him in what looked like a real questionable situation with another woman out in Vegas. But it didn't stop there. Things escalated fast when it was revealed someone allegedly tried to blackmail him using that same footage. The drama was messy, loud, and way too public. Kevin later got ahead of the storm by posting a video where he apologized to his wife and family, saying, "I made a bad error in judgment." That alone had people talking. But what made it even more heartbreaking was when Eniku revealed in a Netflix documentary that she was actually pregnant at the time it all went down. That added a whole new layer of emotion and disappointment. And then there's Kevin's history with some of his past jokes, the kind that resurfaced when the Academy tapped him to host the Oscars in 2018. Clips and tweets from the late 2000s came crawling back, and critics slammed them as offensive toward the LGBTQ+ community. At first, Kevin stood firm. He refused to apologize again, saying he'd already addressed the issue. But as the backlash grew louder, the pressure got real. Eventually, Kevin backed out of hosting and dropped an apology on social media. But that delayed reaction didn't sit well with everyone. Now let's be real, none of these situations happen randomly or by coincidence. Every time there was a slip-up, the pattern looked the same. First came denial, or trying to spin the story, then came the sorry, after it couldn't be avoided anymore. These weren't just small missteps, they were big decisions that carried big consequences. And the way Kevin handled them, it showed someone more focused on saving face than taking full responsibility. And that's exactly where the real concern kicks in. From luxury parties with eyebrow-raising vibes to full-blown PR crises, Kevin has gotten a rep for reacting only when the damage is already done. It's like he waits until there's no other move before he makes one. And that's not a good look when it keeps happening over and over again. What makes it even stickier is the kind of crowd Kevin kept close. Powerful names who are now under fire for serious things. We're talking about his connections to folks like Diddy, who's been facing a wave of scrutiny over his private parties and business moves. And again, to be clear, Kevin hasn't been accused of anything illegal. But his name keeps sliding into these conversations around silence, protection, and who stays close to power without ever speaking on it. It's not about blaming Kevin for someone else's choices, it's about noticing the patterns. Who he aligns with, when he chooses to speak, and when he stays quiet. From the outside, it starts looking strategic, not random, and that brings us back to Katt Williams. In that explosive 2024 sit-down with Club Shay Shay, Katt didn't hold anything back. It wasn't just casual tea, it was a full breakdown of everything that's been rubbing him wrong about the industry. And right in the center of it all, Kevin Hart. For Katt, the biggest red flag wasn't just about Kevin's behavior. It was how fast the industry embraced him without the grind that most stand-ups go through.
15 years in Hollywood, no one in Hollywood has a memory of going to a sold-out Kevin Hart show, there being a line for him ever getting a standing ovation at any comedy club.
In Katt's eyes, Kevin's whole rise felt way too fast, like he skipped all the normal steps. Most comedians out here hustle hard for years, hitting every comedy club they can find, city by city, night after night, building up real respect from the ground up. That struggle is usually what shapes a comic's voice and earns them stripes. But Kevin, according to Katt, he didn't go through that same struggle. Instead, he seemed to glide right past all that, like someone opened a shortcut door just for him.
Already had his deals when he got here. Have we heard of a comedian that came to LA and in his first year in LA, he had his own sitcom on network television and had his own movie called Soul Plane that he was leading?
Katt Williams didn't hold back when it came to calling out the gaps in Kevin Hart's story. He especially took aim at the version Kevin shared in his Netflix series with Chris Rock. That documentary painted a picture of Kevin grinding it out on the East Coast, building his name in those comedy clubs. But Katt said, hold up. How does that timeline make sense if Kevin was also already showing up in Los Angeles around the same time? Something wasn't lining up, and Katt straight up asked, so how simultaneously was he here in Los Angeles doing the same thing? Then dropped the mic with, it didn't happen. And then came the word that shook everything. Plant! Katt didn't toss that out for laughs. He was serious. He said Kevin looked like someone who didn't fight their way in, but was placed in position. A plant, as Katt described it, is somebody who gets slid into the industry with full backing, roles lined up, connections made, and then is sold to the public like they did it all themselves. No sweat, no grind, just strategy and silence. And for Katt, that's exactly how Kevin's career looked. Too smooth, too fast, too perfect. From the outside, Kevin's resume might seem impressive. Hit movies, big deals, A-list connections. But Katt said the pace and access didn't feel earned. It felt arranged. And when you stack that next to Katt's years of battling it out on stage for real respect, yeah, he wanted answers. Now, to be fair, Kevin Hart has talked about these accusations before. Back in a 2014 sit-down with Oprah on Oprah Prime, she asked him straight up about people calling his success too fast. Kevin responded with, Hollywood has a way of making everything seem like an overnight success. Then he said he'd been at it for 18 years. He talked about paying his dues over and over and said he studied the greats like Eddie Murphy and Chris Rock. His house, he said, was filled with images of comedy legends, just to remind him daily of the level he was chasing. And when Oprah asked what made him different, Kevin said, my drive. My drive is other people's success. So for him, it was never luck, it was hustle. But Katt wasn't buying it. To Katt, Kevin's work ethic wasn't the question. He believed Kevin worked, but what he questioned was who opened the doors. Who let Kevin bypass the grind most comedians face? Most people got to fight just for one shot. Kevin? He had offers, big ones, right out the gate. Katt wanted to know why. And then Katt took it even further. This wasn't just about Kevin anymore. He started pointing fingers at the whole system. He said Hollywood doesn't reward raw talent, it rewards cooperation. And in his eyes, Kevin had become one of the very gatekeepers who once controlled the path forward. To prove his point, Katt brought up Kevin's link to Tiffany.
There's no gatekeepers, but we keep seeing the same people open the gate. Didn't Kevin open the gate and let Tiffany in? Ain't he now opening it up for...
While Tiffany Haddish is now a household name, thanks to that breakout performance in Girls Trip and her high-profile hosting gig on Saturday Night Live, her journey to fame wasn't always picture perfect. She's been super open about her struggles, even revealing that she was homeless at one point, living out of her car while chasing her comedy dreams. In a 2018 Vanity Fair interview, Tiffany shared a story that really touched people's hearts. She said Kevin Hart saw her at the Laugh Factory and realized she was sleeping in her car. What did he do? He handed her $300 and told her to grab a hotel room. But that wasn't all. Kevin sat her down and gave her the kind of real talk people pray for. He told her to write out her goals, get focused, and take it one step at a time. Tiffany took that advice to heart. She booked a motel room, wrote out everything she dreamed of achieving, roles she wanted, celebs she wanted to work with, and big goals she thought were out of reach. And guess what? She started knocking them out one by one. Now that sounds like a beautiful story of mentorship and hustle, right? Well, not everybody saw it that way. Katt Williams had a whole different take on Tiffany's rise to fame, and he didn't keep it cute. When he appeared on V103's Frank and Wanda in the Morning, Katt made it clear he wasn't buying the fairy tale version of her success. He said Tiffany Haddish been doing comedy since she was 16, but you can't tell me your favorite Tiffany Haddish joke. His point? For someone getting that much shine, people didn't seem to know her for her stand-up. Katt didn't just stop there. He said she hadn't even done a solo tour yet, no full special to prove her chops on stage, and questioned if she was really writing her own jokes. To him, it looked like the industry was fast-tracking her image, using her popularity without giving her the space to grow as a full-fledged stand-up comedian.
Did you think she wrote Girls Trip goofball?
Right.
Or do you think that was already a script and they handed it to her?
Things really started to heat up when Katt Williams kept going, throwing major shade and stirring up controversy in a big way. He questioned how the industry was quick to tear down someone like Monique, an Oscar-winning actress with decades in the game, while fast-tracking someone like Tiffany Haddish just because of Girls Trip. Then he dropped this spicy line. Did you think she wrote Girls Trip Goofball? Or do you think that was already a script and they just handed it to her? That line had people gasping. Wanda Smith, the host, tried to defend Tiffany. She said people love her because she's authentic and relatable. But Katt wasn't having it. He snapped back with, since when did being real become a marketable product? He was coming for everything. Her fame, her image, even the way she's been marketed to the public. Katt didn't stop there. He even brought up Tiffany's past comments about her celebrity crush, Brad Pitt, and said that her openness about being attracted to white men helped her move through an industry still tied to certain power dynamics. The message? Maybe her appeal to those in power played a role in her rise and not just raw talent. He ended his rant by putting the spotlight on veteran black female comedians who've been doing this for years but are constantly overlooked. He name-dropped Lou Nell, Miss Laura, and Melanie Camacho, women who've been grinding in comedy but never got the same spotlight. They put in work, Katt said, but the industry isn't lining up for them. It was a major mic drop moment. But Kevin Hart wasn't about to let that slide. He pulled up to the Breakfast Club with Tiffany Haddish by his side and came swinging. Addressing Katt directly, Kevin said, "You had the shot. You were set up to be the star, but you didn't show up to work." He said Katt skipped promo shoots, missed big chances, and became too risky for producers to rely on. Kevin didn't just defend Tiffany, he flipped the whole script and said Katt was bitter because his own career lost momentum.
Forever been the humble guy. I have time to not be humble today. I have time to fact check everything he said because the world of Katt Williams is a fiction.
What made Katt Williams' criticism hit different this time wasn't just who he named, it was how deep he went into the behind-the-scenes details. He wasn't tossing around vague accusations. He broke it all down, talking about specific film deals, projects that never came to life, and exactly why he said no. Katt claimed that for nearly 5 years straight, almost every comedy movie Kevin Hart landed had first been offered to him. According to Katt, he turned those roles down because he didn't vibe with the scripts. He didn't want to be part of outdated portrayals or scenes that leaned heavily into humor that didn't align with his values. "I'm not against comedy," Katt explained, "but I'm not going to take shortcuts. I'm not going to play something I don't believe in just to get ahead." He said that whenever he tried to suggest edits or changes to the script, the offers would suddenly disappear, and right after that, Kevin would pop up in the role without any changes made. That had people looking at the situation sideways. Was this just about different styles or something deeper? Katt's comments circled back to a topic he's brought up in the past. The idea that some black male actors in Hollywood feel pressure to put on dresses in skits or movies to get that big break. It's a theory that's been around for a while, and even Dave Chappelle once spoke on it. The conversation usually centers on whether it's just comedy, or something actors feel pushed into to gain approval from the industry's power players. Katt revisited that exact topic while doing press for Scary Movie 5, and around that time, Kevin had just done a sketch on Saturday Night Live wearing a dress. Kevin didn't see an issue. He said it was just a regular comedy bit. But to Katt, that wasn't something to brush off. He saw it as part of a bigger pattern, and he made it clear that for him, playing those roles wasn't the path he was willing to take.
You know what? I was actually one of those comedians that said, no, I wouldn't wear a dress. There's no way.
Dave Chappelle and I said that they tried to make him wear a dress.
You have to have boundaries. You have to have limits that you refuse to cross. I know what they are. You gotta know that you're a brand. You need to protect your brand at all times.
And then when proposed with the opportunity of what I felt was funny, nobody made Martin put on a dress and nobody made Tyler Perry. It was a choice that
That moment wasn't just about a dress, it was about what Katt Williams sees as a much bigger problem in the industry. It wasn't the outfit that bothered him, it was the deeper meaning behind it. To Katt, it symbolized a pattern where entertainers are expected to go along with Hollywood's unwritten rules, even if it means pushing stereotypes or playing roles that don't reflect who they truly are. That right there is where the divide between Katt and Kevin gets real. Katt believes he got left out of the spotlight because he refused to play along. He didn't want to take certain roles. He didn't want to stay quiet when he felt something wasn't right. He stayed true to himself, but he thinks the price was high. He believes the industry kept moving without him. Kevin Hart, he sees it totally different. From Kevin's perspective, he didn't sell out. He just played it smart. He took every shot seriously, stayed on his grind, and built his empire from every single opportunity that came his way. He sees himself as someone who hustled hard and kept climbing, no matter how small the step. But Katt ain't the only one who's raised concerns about Kevin's moves. Let's talk about Monique. Yeah, the Monique. She had her own moment where she felt like Kevin wasn't as loyal as he made himself out to be. While Monique was battling some heavy heat from industry giants like Oprah Winfrey and Tyler Perry, she claims Kevin wasn't exactly standing 10 toes down beside her like he said he would. And if that doesn't have you giving the side eye, there's even more buzz. Rumor has it Kevin's been getting close to both Oprah and Tyler Perry, possibly trying to cozy up to the power players of Hollywood to keep his name shining bright. Let's rewind to that now famous 2021 episode on Kevin's podcast Comedy Gold Mines. Kevin brought Monique on as a guest and things got real deep. They spoke on Monique's early grind, her comedy career, and everything she'd gone through in the business. If you didn't know, Monique has been in a long public back and forth with Oprah and Tyler Perry, something she's never shied away from. During that episode, Monique laid it all out, how her family went through a serious storm and how Hollywood shut her out. And Kevin, he stepped up in that moment. He told her she was like family, calling her a mother, an aunt, and a sister all in one. Kevin didn't stop at sweet words either. He offered action. Even though Kevin admitted he didn't know Oprah like that, he told Monique he'd personally reach out to Tyler Perry. And he actually did. Kevin later came back and told her he had a positive talk with Perry. According to him, Tyler was open to squashing the old beef and moving on. Kevin even encouraged Monique to let go of the negativity too and focus on doing something powerful together. But it didn't stop there, because Kevin offered to go a step further. Monique later told Shannon Sharpe in an interview that Kevin promised her something big. He said if she had a project she wanted to bring to life, he'd put his name on it, support it, and executive produce it with her. According to Monique, Kevin told her straight up, "Mo, I talked to Tyler. He's not interested in reopening that whole situation, but you and me, let's move forward. Let's do great things. Whatever you want to make happen, I'll stand beside you and help bring it to life."
Kevin Hart, let's move past that, Mo. Let's do some great things together. Don't even worry about it. Whatever y'all want to do, I will partner with you. I'll executive produce with you. You just let me know what.
She also shared something major. Kevin didn't just offer words or promises, he put his money where his mouth was. Monique revealed that Kevin once lent her a serious chunk of change during a tough moment in her life, and guess what? She paid it back, with interest. That part shows the level of trust they had, at least back then. But now let's get into the real twist, because this story takes a sharp left turn. After Kevin promised he'd help her relaunch her talk show and even sign on as an executive producer, Monique was thrilled. Who wouldn't be? Having Kevin Hart's name attached to any project is a game changer. She immediately shared the exciting news with her team and with Endemol, her media production partner. Everyone was hyped. The idea of Kevin coming on board had everybody thinking this show was about to be the next big thing. But then, just 2 weeks later, boom! Everything flipped. Monique got hit with news she wasn't ready for. Endemol suddenly told her they had been contacted by Kevin Hart's longtime manager, Dave Becky. And his message? Kevin was backing out, just like that. The same Kevin who had been talking about big plans was now getting cold feet. Through his team, not even directly. So Monique called Kevin herself, hoping to get some clarity. But instead of a straight answer, all she got was a vague reassurance. No clear reason, no real explanation, just uncertainty. And it left her and everyone on her team completely confused and disappointed.
Communication, and we're gonna talk Tuesday. Don't worry about it. I'm telling you right now, it's a miscommunication. That was 2 years ago. If you talk to him, I talk to him. I've never talked back to Kevin Hart again.
Fast forward 2 whole years, and not a single word from Kevin Hart. Total silence. Monique's been left hanging, and that once promising partnership completely ghosted. But wait, this is where the internet detectives step in. Fans started piecing things together, and some are saying Kevin might have never really planned to follow through. Could it all have just been for show? Then it gets even wilder, because now people are throwing around bold theories. There's chatter online that Kevin's tight relationship with powerful figures like Oprah and Tyler Perry might have come with strings attached. Some believe that stepping up for Monique, especially after her public fallout with those same names, might have put his own status at risk. And if that's true, then maybe Kevin's silence wasn't just a flake, it was calculated. But here's the kicker. Eddie Murphy just flipped the whole conversation. When a comedy legend like Eddie starts casting doubt on your credibility, it opens the floodgates. It's not just casual critique, it's a signal. And suddenly the entire industry and the fans are all taking a second look at Kevin Hart's rise, his alliances, and what might really be going on behind the scenes. So now the real question is, can Kevin reclaim that respect? Or is this a turning point in how he's seen in comedy? Drop your thoughts in the comments. Don't forget to like, subscribe, and turn on those notifications. Catch you in the next one, my stars and hushers.